Look at this. Hey, we're just outside of Montpellier, in the south of France, on the doorstep of Toulouse. We're in the rural area. It's just fantastic, isn't it? Hey,
amazing,
I
mate.
told you I'll take you away.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I would love to know what we're buying. I mean, we're in France, so I've got some guesses. It's going to be either a Citroën, a Renault, or a Peugeot. It's probably one of those three, right?
Down here, they love their little vans. So Citroën made the 2CV car.
We're not doing a 2CV.
No, we're not doing a 2CV. However, the Citroën 2CV also become a van called the Fourgonnette.
It is.
It did. While Italy had the Fiat 500 and Germany the Beetle, in France it was the 2CV that mobilised the masses.
It was brilliantly designed to be cheap, rugged and easy to fix.
Which is just as well, with a target market of farmers who were still relying on a horse and cart.
The Fourgonnette or van version only broadened the 2CV's appeal with its spacious load bay and distinctive corrugated sides.
And the nation fell in love with the iconic little Citroën, a love that endures today.
They're such a rare thing, especially back home. I mean, I'm not sure I've actually ever seen one other than being used at a festival for a coffee van.
Exactly. In fact, 9 times out of 10, wherever you go to a city here in France, you'll see a coffee shop or a patisserie. Parked outside will be a little Citroën, either a HY van or a Fourgonnette outside, promoting their business. So I'm hoping that we can buy one, fix it up a little bit, and get it sold here, within region. We're on our way to meet a chap called Thierry, who's invited us to his understated little chateau, where he has a couple of Fourgonnettes on offer. Mate, I know how to deliver us in style.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
I'm Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Very nice to meet you. This is Elvis.
Nice to meet you, Thierry.
Nice to meet you.
Well, these look amazing. So we have a quick look?
Yeah, of course.
What are the age of the vehicles?
That's 1973.
73.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Got the
So
original.
basic, aren't they?
Never been restored.
I can see it's totally original.
Yeah.
The size of the engine in this one?
604.
604.
That's the big engine.
I like that.
That's the big engine.
That's the whopper.
What's this one got?
That's 425.
How many horsepower?
18. That's a 62.
So this is an earlier car?
Yeah, yeah. This
this
has
one-
been restored partly.
It looks like it's been restored. It's in nice condition.
It has still the old number plate.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? I love the wheels as well. They're very good.
Love the sort of corrugated
Yeah, it's
nature. It
great.
gives us that extra strength. Keeps the vehicle lightweight. It's great.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? Got a huge window on the side. I like that. Thierry, do you have any paperwork for these cars?
Yes, of course.
Right, you have a look at that. I'm going to go and have a little look around the cars, all right? There we go. It's just so basic. I mean, 90% of what's in this engine bay is actually the gearbox. The engine is tiny. It's down here where you often get the rust. And actually, it seems OK. Mechanically, they're generally pretty sound, these cars, and it's almost always the bodywork that's the thing that lets it down.
OK, so this is the original registration document for this car, 1960,
Yes.
62.
Yes.
Can we have a minute just
Yeah,
to
of
discuss?
course. Yeah, I'll let you. Yeah.
Lovely, thank you very
you.
much. Mate, what did you find out?
Well, they both seem pretty sound in terms of the bodywork, and that's always the weak point on these cars.
I mean, that one's unrestored and it's lovely, but this one, it's the earlier car. I know it's got the smaller engine, but the most important thing is this. This was originally, when it came out of the factory, this was a 4-seater van, which turns it into a passenger vehicle and a van.
Okay.
So it's much more desirable and usable.
Let me just have a quick look in here. Because there's obviously no seats in the back right now. Well, the little
That's
holes
why
the
it's got this
posts go
big
through.
window, you know, for the passengers, so they can see out either side.
It's a good point.
That makes this much rarer.
OK, so a 4-seater with only 2 seats and a tiny engine. Yeah, I can really see why the French fell in love with this car.
Maybe it's more about the driving experience. I'll let you get in first because we've got to do a suspension test. We just want to make sure that you're happy with that.
It's like being on the high seas in a boat.
It's great, isn't it? Time to feel the power of those 18 horses.
I'm flat out.
This is flat
This
out.
is flat out.
No way. Is it? I
is
can
it.
run quicker. And we got overtaken.
This is woefully underpowered. My first thought is, this needs a bigger engine. This is ridiculous, honestly. This is barely usable.
So we've been overtaken again. Maybe there's a way we can make this engine perform better. Maybe we can open the engine up, or even, dare I say, just change the engine.
I don't know how anyone could ever use this. It's a museum piece like this. You can't use it to go anywhere.
No.
Right, let's throw it into this roundabout.
Whip. Way! I'm going to come out. I can almost feel the floor on my fingertips. Whoa, that is ridiculous.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I reckon it could do with new bushes. You know, this is probably, it's old, isn't it?
Well, I think that's a fairly easy thing to do that will tighten everything up. It's probably a bit of a no-brainer. It's going to be cheap as well, isn't it?
I've got to find some rear seats for it because I think that's going to be a big way to sell this. It's be a people carrier as well as a van.
Find me in a bigger engine with more power, please.
Bigger engine and rear seats. It's on my shopping list. Let's hope I can find the bits. Let's get back there and try drive the price down.
Yeah.
You know, from the €14,000. We need to be edging towards, I reckon, €12,000. So the closest we can get it to that, the better position we're going to be at the other end when we come to sell it. Right, what is the French for massive discount? Thierry, that was the world's slowest test drive. It's got a lovely feel about that car. Although the engine is small and underpowered.
In my idea, we'd put a bigger engine in it, because then it's usable for more people, it becomes a more usable vehicle. But
Yeah.
that's, of course, going to cost us some money.
So how much did you want for it?
I want 14.
€14,000. What's the very best it could be?
The best, 13,000.
€13,000.
Yeah.
Could you make it €12,000?
12 and a half.
It is just about whether we've got enough scope in that price to buy those bits we need and get them all fit to the car.
Yeah, you are right, mate. I think we need to stick at €12,000. If you can make it work for 12,000, we'll have a deal and we'll drive it away. What do you say?
Yes.
Okay, Thierry, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thierry.
Ah, mate, how good is that?
What a car.
We own a 2CV Fourgonnette passenger van.
And we've never said that before.
No, never. Well, as the French say, très bon.
Yeah, and they also say, mon Dieu. I'm going to go ahead and find out just how big a job lies between our Fourgonnette and a decent profit.
And Mike has told me that he's found somewhere for us to work on the vehicle. It's a chateau, apparently, which sounds lovely, of course. I just hope it's got enough space for me to pull this apart and rebuild it again. And unfortunately, this has no sat-nav, so just hope I can find it.
The Occitan region is probably the best place in the world to be fixing up our Fourgonnettes. This southern region adores its 2CVs. There's a thriving club scene, events galore, and fingers crossed, a bountiful supply of spare parts.
There we go, I'm pretty sure this is it. Does look quite grand.
I probably should have told Elvis I've only borrowed the garage space to work our magic, not the chateau.
Well, speaking of magic, for my first trick, I'd like to make that underpowered 425cc engine disappear. Fortunately, removing the engine, side panels and front wings involves little more than loosening a few 10mm nuts. Then, I just need to get the bonnet out of the way. So the last thing I want is for that to fall on me, so what I'm going to do is tie a bit of string to it and then lash it right over the top to the back of the car so it can't fall on the head. This is proper Boy Scout stuff, this, isn't it? Disconnecting all the electrics and linkages is a little more fiddly. That's seen better days. That's the little bush that sits in the top of the gear linkage. Even so, the simplicity of design makes stripping the engine a straightforward job. Right, there we go. That's the final engine mount undone. We should now be ready to lift this tiny little underpowered engine out of the engine bay.
Now, while Elvis works to get the old engine out, I need to find a new, more powerful one to put in. So I've come to the picturesque town of Cottignac to meet a local contact. He's an expert on all things 2CV. His name's Jack. Apparently, what he doesn't know about these cars isn't worth knowing. Hopefully, I can tap into his network of contacts. We can use that to finish ours. Jack, how you doing? I'm Mike.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, and you. So you bought a nice bit of British down for me.
Got to keep the British heritage.
Yeah, you certainly have. So you are an expat living down here in the south of France?
I certainly am, yep.
What's it like?
It's fantastic. It's best move I ever made.
I'm hoping that you can help me out because whilst I've been down here, I managed to buy myself a 1962 Fourgonnette. There's a few bits and pieces we've got to do to the vehicle, but the main thing is when we drove it, it was woefully underpowered. So first and foremost, we thought, let's change the engine.
You're going to need to forget about that.
Why?
There is so much legality in France about changing engines in cars, lots and lots of red tape, but the most important thing is the purity of the car. As soon as you change the engine in that, it's going to devalue it.
OK, well, that does cause me a problem.
Hello, mate.
Elvis, my man. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, really good.
Listen, I've just met up with this guy called Jack. He's the expert when it comes to all things 2CV in this region.
Yeah.
He has told me because of the paperwork and the law behind it, we should not change the engine. So whatever we do, don't remove the engine.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not joking.
I cannot tell you how bad your timing is.
Our wheeler dealer World Tour has brought us to the south of France with its sun-drenched landscape and cafe culture. Bonjour, monsieur. I'm going to try my best French. Café allongé?
Allongé, yeah.
Allongé. Almost there.
Espresso?
That's Italian.
Espresso and espresso is Italian and
Sounds
French.
exactly the same.
Mate, he got it. He got it. There you go.
That's cheating.
That's a pass in a GCSE, isn't it?
It is a pass. Break time over. I need Elvis to focus on his GCSE Fourgonnette.
But reviving this 50-year-old national treasure feels more like an A-level job. And if I'm not allowed to replace the engine, I'm going to have to find a few extra horses out of the original motor. This little engine was perfect for the 2CV. It was tiny, lightweight, really fuel efficient. It's only got 2 cylinders, so 2 conrods, 2 pistons. There's nothing to it. Horizontally opposed and air-cooled. It really was genius in its simplicity. 18 horsepower was barely enough back in 1962, but the engine's so simple there aren't many options for adding more punch. One of my first thoughts is that this little carburettor is tiny, so we could definitely think about either upgrading or even replacing it. And it's not just the carburettor that needs attention. The fuel-air mixture is sucked into each cylinder through an inlet manifold, and ours, well, it's seen better days. This is the inlet manifold here, but also attached is the exhaust manifold with this heat exchanger in the middle. And on the underside, yeah, they have a little drainage hole here for just bleeding off excess fuel. And what can often happen is that rusts away and the hole gets bigger. But actually, I'm pretty sure, yeah, in this case, it's actually blocked. And if that's been blocked for years, there's less air flowing through the system, so that would need cleaning out. But what I've also discovered, look, here, it's actually broken. It's got a crack in it, which someone has done a sort of temporary repair in the past. The upshot is this needs replacing. And on that note, I might see if Mike could even find me a bigger one, which might help with that power output.
Un grand manifold. Sounds achievable, especially with Jack's local knowledge and knows the 2CV parts. Well, look, I do have this now utopian shopping list. It would be lovely if I could achieve all of it today, which would be the rare seats. The Soapy's got some of those. The other thing is as well, I remember, well, I've sold a few old 2CVs in my time, and I can remember that they used to be really frugal in terms of petrol because they had this freewheeling clutch. The one that we've got hasn't got that.
Right, OK, what you're talking about is called the traffic clutch, which was an aftermarket part that was fitted to the 2CV. And what that was designed to do, it was the reason they called it a traffic clutch. It was designed if you was in town, you didn't need to keep pushing the clutch down every time you stopped.
Right, but you just said some key words there. You said it was an aftermarket part.
aftermarket
Are you
part,
saying
yeah.
that we could fit one to our car then?
They're a very rare part, but if you do find one, you could potentially fit it to your car.
And obviously, the carb improvement parts, you know, the bigger jets for the carbs.
I mean, we'll go down there and we'll have to have a look in their workshop.
We're heading to a place called the Mahari Club in nearby Cassis, which Jack assures me is an Aladdin's cave of all things 2CV. No way.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey
This
guys.
is Cedric. Cedric, how
Hi,
are
my
you?
friend.
Cedric,
Hi,
how are you?
Cedric. Nice
I'm
to meet
Mike.
you.
Very nice to meet you. This vast site has warehouses full of 2CV parts, plus a huge workshop area where they can restore cars to original factory spec. So you do everything in-house? You've got your paint booths, your paint shop?
Exactly. Every area is dedicated to, every kind of job we need to do on the cars. So.
I love it. Absolutely love it. They've even been given decades-old factory machinery by Citroën, who are also keen to keep these iconic vehicles on the road.